Hello and welcome to the Raw Preview. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by all the darling boys, Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Raw, but also SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0, AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, they're joined by Michael Hamflett in the beautiful Luxor Hotel and Casino to look ahead to tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw and all the fallout from WrestleMania.
WrestleMania is in the books, and we should point out as well, while anything is possible in the pyramid, for one day only, it is also possible in Mandalay Bay. If you're watching this in Las Vegas, in your hotel room or out and about, whatever, get yourself to Flanker at Mandalay Bay, right next door to the Luxor, where we'll be doing a live Raw watch party from 5 o'clock. Is that when the show airs on the West Coast? Because, oh my God, the West Coast is the best coast for this sort of thing. Yeah, 5 o'clock is going to be pints, food, a good time. Flanker bar at Mandalay Bay. But yeah, what a Raw to watch, to have a watch party for. We got a new WWE champion. We haven't said that phrase in one whole year after last year's WrestleMania. We're going to talk, obviously, WrestleMania will be doing a full review of Night 2 as well. But it just feels like the world of John Cena as WWE champion even remotely colliding with the world of Jey Uso as World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah. It's like the sort of disgusting dark universe version of that time when we were fortunate enough to be at WrestleMania 35 when Kofi and Becky and Seth won the belts, and Adam Nicholas behind that camera told us, well, hope you had your nice times because they're coming to an end. The idea that you can have Jey Uso, hey, we did it, oh guys, I'm John Cena and I'm real mad, like it's part of like the same
graphics for me.
Yeah, the same storytelling universe as the current world champions. I kind of want to look at this, man.
Yeah, I do really want to see what happens tonight with both these people, because we know they're both advertised for tonight's show. Obviously, John Cena will be presumably mostly on SmackDown going forward, being their champion, and Jey Uso will have the run of Monday Night Raw, but very excited to see where they go tonight. And you pointed out yourself a few weeks back, and yes, I know he's a SmackDown superstar, but a lack of Cody Rhodes on the advertising for tonight's Raw would suggest, at least, that maybe he has tucked his tail and gone away for a while, and John Cena is going to be very, very cocky and confident. It's, I told you so, and I'm going to take this belt and run away with it, basically. I'm going to retire with it. I assume we'll get more of a development on that tonight, because I think there was somewhat of a confusion that he was just going to kind of win at WrestleMania and then leave forever. I think the whole point is going to be, no, I'm retiring at the end of the year and I'll retire with this belt, basically. That's what I took from it anyway, but interesting to see how John Cena responds to that and responds to the audience reaction to what happened on WrestleMania last night, and whether or not Travis Scott makes another appearance.
Yeah, Travis Scott and John Cena just being buddies is something I want to look at a little bit longer, and they kind of held each other's arms up together, especially in the absence of a certain other person that might have once upon a time had something to do with this story before he got bored of it yet again. Yeah, I don't think.
From miles away.
Yeah. No, John Cena, what I would like tonight is to have him open the show. Yes. Like, I'm really curious to get a Raw reaction in T-Mobile, because certainly on Friday night, like when we were covering it for the HyperX, it was that very mixed reaction until Cody got everybody back on side. And the same was true last night in the stadium. I compared it, like when the match kicked off, to Rock and Hogan, where I thought they're just not going to go with Cody here. They did by the end, but it was still very mixed. I'm curious to see if John Cena does that, and then if he's able to do the heel version of what Cody did and get the crowd against him. Because what I would like is for him to cut that promo, is for him to say, excuse me, my voice is gone, it's been a weekend. Him to say, I'm doing what I said I was going to do, like I always did. I'm going to beat your favourites, I'm going to ruin wrestling, I'm going to take this title, and nobody's going to get it off me until I finish up in December. And then later on in the show, have one Randy Orton be the first person to step up and say, no, it's not going down like this. He wore last night at WrestleMania the blue and yellow of his 2002 early run. He was celebrating his 20th year. There was a sense of, it's all coming to an end, but it's all been great. How has Randy Orton become the happy, shiny version of John Cena? The contrast has never been better placed, of course, ahead of Backlash in St. Louis. Get that going tonight. Have Randy Orton be the guy that says, no, it's not going to go down like this. Like, we should be celebrating our 20th years. We should be celebrating everything we've done. Why have you become so sad about all of this? Like, if I need to beat you to fix this, I'll do it, and I'll do it next month for Cody. If he's going to be away, I'll be the guy to step in.
Yeah, one of the things I really liked about this WrestleMania is, and you always talk about, you and Sidge, about how it's always the end of the world, and then make sure you join us on Monday for what happens next. I really got a sense of that this year because, like you say, not just a whole sweep of new champions and returns and what have you, and we'll talk about, by the way, debuts and returns on this Raw a little while later since, well, they kind of saved the Raw after WrestleMania last year for me. It finally felt like, okay, we're back to what we loved about this sort of show rather than just being like, right, stop enjoying it, we'll see you in a few months sort of thing. I would love to see Randy Orton confront him here, but I would also be understanding if they decided save Randy Orton for SmackDown to respond to John Cena there. Another hook of like, well, here's why you have to tune in on Friday night. Yeah. Whereas you've also got Jey Uso and his potential opponents going forward as well. And it's fascinating because it's one of those things where often, you know, like the John Cena one, like I agree, I think it seems fairly straightforward. It's Randy Orton, it's St. Louis. That's the direction you go for Backlash. But chatting to people outside the Allegiant over the last few days, the fantasy booking for what happens with Jey Uso is all over the place. I've heard people suggest he should drop the title tonight, for example. I wouldn't go quite that far, but I don't expect a long title reign for Jey Uso with the World Heavyweight Championship because it was more of a moment than a sort of crowning of the next big worker for WWE. Love Jey Uso, but I think we all know what we're doing here. But for me, I looked at that and went, Jey Uso won, and then Drew McIntyre finally defeated Damian Priest. It's a perfect feud going forward for them. But then other people have said, well, is Jey Uso going to lose it in his first defense? I'd kind of be all right with that if I'm honest. But I understand people may say, give him one, let him have one title defense on pay-per-view. So you've got that option. You've also got the factor of Seth Rollins, which we'll get onto in a second, because what's he doing now? It's okay, all well and good aligning with Paul Heyman, but you didn't technically win something for winning on the main event of night one. So intriguing to see what happens with him. Maybe, do you save Jey Uso? Because I'm trying to organise this show in my head. Maybe you save Cena for the end, or maybe you, and maybe you start with a giant yeet around the T-Mobile for Jey Uso and a big celebration, or do you save that for later? And do we go off the air, for example, you don't have to stick with me on this one, with Jey Uso getting Claymored at the end of his big celebration?
Ooh. I had a different opponent in mind, but I guess to your point, everybody does, right? Jey Uso is a kind of very interesting world champion in this regard because WWE are not short on heels that are both over and have the narrative momentum to be the first champion, like first challengers now that there's this new champion in place. I do like the idea of the yeet party starting and seeing it, like, by the end of the show, being like, it's so fun, I'm sick of this. Or even cutting off, so, you know, when, like, we love this, when Jey Uso, like, he celebrated, he's had a great time, everyone's to run it back, and then the Cena music cuts that off. Wow. And you see them, like, together for the first time, and again, the contrast of, like, John Cena is, this version of him is such a good character to play off other ones, because WWE, and this is the nice irony of the John Cena character doing this now. While there are so many baby faces that like living in the world of WWE, when John Cena liked living in the world of WWE, everybody else hated it. Yeah. Like, I get why this character would hate this version of it. No, like, I liked it before. I was having a nice time. John, everybody was dead miserable about it. No, it was good for me. Like, it does sort of make sense that, like, he's looking around and like, Jey Uso, even you, Randy, can't you just hate people and, like, put your hand and shake their hand? Like, even you're fine with this. You like Cody's little world. Yeah. So I like the contrast that you can kind of... Raw after WrestleMania feels like one of those nights, you know, the brand split is what it is, but like this is one of the nights where you often see just a bunch of the people. Everyone's in town, they throw people on shows, you know. You can kind of have like Cena interacting with Jey Uso just to do it and then have them part ways immediately. Yeah. I do like the idea, if not, for me, it's not Drew McIntyre, but of the Seth Rollins stomp. Like, doing the same thing to Jey Uso, breaking it up, and Paul Heyman's like new relationship with Seth Rollins there to immediately say, I'm taking you all the way to the top. Like, we're going to get together and you're going to be valid. Like, my decision to come with you is going to be as vindicated as yours to come with me because we're both going to go straight to the title. Yeah,
look, we've been very busy whilst we've been out here in Las Vegas, but I am going to make sure we are seated for this episode of Raw because there's so many options to open the show. This isn't just like, right, it's after WrestleMania, you've had a fun title win, and you come out and say, oh, what a bloody great night that was, eh? You've got Jey Uso, you've got John Cena, and you've got Seth Rollins as well, all viable options for people to come out and have an amazing reaction, divisive but amazing reaction to see, because people want to know what they're going to do next. What's Gunther doing next? Does Gunther come out tonight with Jey Uso and say, you know what, fair play, you were the better man on the night, I'm coming back for that, but congratulations. Does he show a bit of humility, or does he just go immediately into whatever he's doing next? Because there's talk of I mean, he's going to obviously eventually want to win that title back. I wouldn't necessarily run it back. That's 4 times they've done it now, of course. Yeah. There's people talking about him doing sort of legends matches with Bill Goldberg. So does Gunther just disappear for a while? It's really intriguing.
Yeah, Gunther's such a unique one. We talked on the review of Night 1. What an awesome story they can tell with Gunther. As the guy that is the scariest person you work with for 364 days. Yeah. And then on the one night, like under the brightest lights or under the most pressure, he folds, he crumbles.
Oh, you're a bitch.
Oh, it turns out you're not going to want to face me at WrestleMania. No, that's literally the only time I want to face you, as it turns out. They've really got something with this. And like the last time, obviously, he had that, I know, again, it was a bit divisive because it was kind of a new direction for Gunther, but that kind of crisis of confidence as related to Damian Priest, and they kind of played with that a little bit. Then he kind of really like melted into the background when he lost to Cody Rhodes. Yeah. This idea that Gunther has we've talked before and about somebody who might be returning, about the idea of having like the flashing red weak spot on somebody that is otherwise dominant. This is Gunther's. I would have him like nowhere near this show, or at least have like the idea that maybe Postman Pearce would say, "Oh, we were actually going to hear from Gunther later on, but he's not around at the moment." You know, like be subtle with it, be nuanced. Have Ludwig Kaiser. Sorry, where are my manners? Have
Ludwig Kaiser. I'm going to fall into this drink.
Have that guy be like, "Yeah, I was waiting for Gunther." You know the here's the move. You know, when Raw starts with everybody arriving.
Yes.
You got Ludwig Kaiser, like, sort of stood around kind of waiting, checking his watch, doing the whole deal. And, like, just have the commentary. Well, yeah, we're expecting to see the former World Heavyweight Champion. I guess he's not here yet or something. And just have him not turn into work. Like, what you can't...
show his face.
What you can't see Gunther's going through is allowing your imagination to sort of, like, the theatre of the mind kind of thing, you know? Like, is he sad? Is he raging? Like, not knowing.
Ditto Cody this as well.
Yeah, not knowing is kind of the fascinating element, and it gives them like loads of road, like between now and Backlash, to sort of, have him as an advertised return. Finally, he's coming back. Finally, we're going to hear from him. You know, there's so much, as you say, that you can address tonight with partly a party atmosphere, partly a WrestleMania reset atmosphere, that I would say you can rest on your laurels a bit with Gunther.
Yeah, I agree. And the good feeling around WrestleMania and the Raw after WrestleMania means that people aren't going to be going, no. Why aren't you going to get the beach balls out for this sort of thing? Gone are those days, hopefully forever. So we talked Jey Uso. I think, he's got a multitude of opponents that we'll probably mention throughout here. But I do want to talk more about Seth Rollins because, like, just hearing those two go back and forth, or even having Seth barely talk because now he's got a mouthpiece in Paul Heyman. Is that how it's going to work? Just them looking really smug. Maybe you save them for later on in the show. Like, I really like the idea of Seth immediately coming out to start the show. But then again, I also really like the idea of what we've seen a million times before of, here's Seth Rollins' locker room, and who's in there sat right next to him, smiling, smirking like the snake that he is. Yeah, Paul Heyman. And maybe this is not just, Paul Heyman's influence rubbing off on Seth Rollins. Maybe Paul Heyman has a fun outfit now he's with Seth Rollins.
Oh my God, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, wacky suits. Like, wacky suits are those big red shoes. Like, Paul Heyman gets his own, like, red moon boots that he can wear or something like that. Oh, I'd not even considered that, because he's always been, right? Like, what was he? He was, so he was a manager in the Dangerous Alliance. He was the advocate and the agent at various points of Brock Lesnar. He was CM Punk's best friend. He was the wise man, of course, with Roman Reigns. We're going to have to come up with, what's his Seth Rollins' name? And he should definitely...
Oh, I don't know about Seth Rollins' name. What I was thinking of there is, obviously the classic image of him back from these CW days was with the phone. What if he has the phone from Trigger Happy TV now? Is that a thing? Is that anything?
I like that. And he's like, hello, I'm in Las Vegas. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. The ECW thing, the baseball cap and the big leather duster, is it they call it? They're right for like neon versions of them. Neon Paul Heyman. That's what I want more than anything now.
Yeah, and what is, because I'm going to mention this now, and I do apologise to the fan who told this to us, because I thought it was a fascinating development, because a lot of us, Richie, thank you, Adam Nicholas, our wonderful producer, Richie, who suggested this to us, which we hadn't even considered, and this is sort of bleeding over into SmackDown, but it all works. It's all post-WrestleMania stuff, isn't it? The obvious thing is, if it's not Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins just becomes World Heavyweight Champion and holds that for a long old time because he's got Paul Heyman by his side, and CM Punk and Roman Reigns have got to go off and do their own thing. More on CM Punk in a second. Roman Reigns, I sense, knob out Island of Relevancy for a while. But Richie suggested to us, no, Seth Rollins did this for the soul of the company or whatever, and careful, we're getting into dangerous territory here. Seth Rollins will go after John Cena going forward to wrestle it back from him. Is that anything that could work for you?
Well, going for a belt, I think that's why I've landed on Jey Uso, but Cena is the same sort of thing. Like, the soul of the company, which, again, like, that has connotations, and it should do. It's not something you want to do as good practice. But now that he's turned, it's pretty good stuff. Yeah. Like, last week as a babyface, don't be a loser, Seth. Just say you want to win the match. But now, the idea that, well, me and Paul, we're gonna turn this place around.
Best for business.
Yeah, that sort of thing. There's nothing wrong in saying that as a heel, because Jey Uso, the babyface, like less so John Cena, I think. But the idea that a champion should want to sort of present his vision of the company, like Seth Rollins, like, no, I've got this one figured out. I'm Monday Night Rollins. Like, just because I've now got Paul Heyman by my side, I'm going to be here every week.
Paul
exactly.
Freaking Heyman.
Paul, you can suck my freaking D.
2 words. Paul freaking Heyman. It's free.
I like that. We've got it. We've figured this whole thing out. No, Seth Rollins.
I gave up the freaking in my name to Paul.
That is perfect. I was going to say. And how would his entrance music go as he comes out to say that? But maybe not. There's kids around, and by the way, I'm just trying to, if you, I don't know if the cameras can catch it. We've got 3 Sphinx's asses behind us here. By the way,
great asses.
They got great asses.
Later on in my head, all the way.
All the way. You can get putting on a one-arm bandit. You just get 3 Sphinx asses.
Careful, Las Vegas better watch out.
I've had no look in the casino right now. Well, money bags here. I'm amazed that this is still
first class.
Like,
and I upgrade for $37.
The light that that's currently shining on our face is something that we provided because they can't afford to keep them on after this guy cleaned the place out last night. Yeah, like he's giving them 50p to put in the meter because he took so much money off them. Yeah,
a whole $33 from a $10 spend
right in his pocket.
Right, we've talked a lot about the men's division, but we have to talk about the wonderful Io Sky. You and I haven't even had a chance to really chat about that sensational opening to WrestleMania Night 2. Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and still the champion, Io Sky. Where do they all go from here? Is it time for Io to kind of be like, well, beat both of you, move past them? And is it, I don't know, I really want a singles match between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, but I also don't want to just sort of frittered away, in the words of the wonderful Brian Alvarez, just on do that post-WrestleMania, I suppose. Is it a case of them going, bloody crust each other, and we'll revisit this, probably with a title at some point down the line? SummerSlam maybe, WrestleMania next year, who knows? Like, it's always there for them. But Io Sky should quite rightly be like, hang on, I can't do it because I haven't got a microphone in my hand. But I'm the best. I love her.
Unbelievable match last night. Adam Nicholas, just before we recorded, was showing me the clip of her parents crying. Watch it after we finish recording, and you find it online as well if you can. It is unbelievable. The business is real. Thank you, Nicholas. Shared by Gail Kim. Go and follow Gail Kim on Twitter. Crunch class anyway, but go and watch that video. Really emotional. Io Sky, like the universally beloved babyface in a 3-way where there was kind of like split reactions for the other two. Yeah. So she, again, can kind of contribute to the party atmosphere by coming out as a champion. I got a challenger for you. Jade Cargill.
What?
Wins at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Puts herself in contention in the same way we talk about your Drews and Seth Rollins and the like. But who does she have to walk straight past in order to get that title shot? Bianca Belair, who wants another go. So Bianca's already now...
When's the draft?
Well, whenever the hell we want. We're just making it up.
We're jumping all over the place to show us.
The never-ending transfer window, yeah? The idea that obviously over on SmackDown, Bianca Belair is like, well, I guess I go here now and I'm going to have to try and find my way to another title ultimately. And Jay's like, well, I'm pretty good over here. I've dealt with Naomi. Sorry, I'll just have to go to the back of the line. And that's when Bianca starts thinking, was Naomi right? And just like it eats away at her. Maybe she should have attacked Jay. Like all the stuff I did for her. And basically the second that my back is turned and I've had one bad night at WrestleMania, I've lost my streak. And what does she think? She doesn't think, oh, we should be tag champions again. We should get back to it. No. She thinks, I'll take that spot, thanks very much. Maybe I should have dunked her on the car as well. Like it all sort of feeds into the eventual Bianca Belair heel turn that they have been experimenting with and tweaking with since earlier this year.
I love this time of year because we have this fun game that we have where we just scroll through the roster page and make some random predictions. But anything's possible in the pyramid and on the Raw after WrestleMania. As you were talking there, I was trying to think, okay, who's next for Io Sky? And you could do, fingers crossed if she's okay, a returning Asuka coming back and being like, I know we're mates, but I'd quite like a shot at that or whatever. But if that's out of the picture, which is understandable, I don't think... I read that Asuka was going to be cleared for the Raw after WrestleMania. It feels like May, but again, that could be them working us, of course. Couple of names I want to throw at you. Number one, obviously, the best female wrestler in the world, Livy Omega's got an out around her waist right now. I know she's just lost, but you can build up to her challenging Io Sky going forward. Or, completely out of the blue, because she completely disappeared on the road to WrestleMania, Alexa Bliss. I'm back, and guess what? I'd quite like a title around my waist, and maybe you do it prior to the match, maybe you do it during the match, maybe you do it after the match, win or lose for Alexa Bliss. You've got the Wyatt Six stuff that's always bubbling under.
Mm-hmm. I like that. You've got, the Wyatt Six that appeared like it was definitely going to happen before everything got parked in that regard. You could also, as a way to not necessarily set it up, but Alexa Bliss being the one to challenge, the Wyatt Six getting like a big return pop. Io Sky's got Dakota Kai, right? So there's a little damage Katara, Alexa and Nikki Cross. Payoff for his sister Abigail if she was to be part of the Wyatt Six. So I don't mind that as a way to bring the pieces together. Do you know, I think should just simply politely ask for a title shot and get one out of all of this. Bayley.
Yes.
A straight up babyface match. She returns from the attack after she's selling the injuries or whatever. She wants a title shot against Io Sky.
WrestleMania last year.
Water's under the bridge, but can I have one more shot? That kind of thing. I need to find out who's attacked me. Like they love finding out who's attacked me. Like that's going to be obviously feed into the story down the line. There's things you can do with Bayley and Becky, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, but yeah, another win for Io and another defeat for Bayley that kind of furthers this idea that like I'm getting attacked, I'm losing my spot, and I'm not winning the big matches. Like how can I get myself back on track? But it's a match that you can just go to that's a guaranteed banger as well.
A quick word on Becky Lynch, because obviously fantastic to see her return last night at WrestleMania, but I think you and I were talking separately about this because we're always basically talking about NXT, me and Hamflett. I don't anticipate a great deal for her on this show because of what we mentioned around WrestleMania being they're the new tag team champions, and the tag team champions have their first title defense scheduled for, where is it? Oh, God, the name escapes me here in wonderful Las Vegas. Where is NXT on Tuesday night?
The Fontainebleau.
Where the new tag team champions,
not just WhatCulture, I'm a man of great culture.
Lyra Two Belts and Becky Lynch taking those tag titles to NXT to defend them against Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolin. So maybe it'll be a relatively swift, make sure you watch NXT on Tuesday sort of thing, because it's obviously the big show that everyone watches and they're trying to spread that viewership across multiple shows. Moving on, or I suppose not really, because we mentioned Livy Omega there, Livy Ospreay. A mixed night for the Judgment Day, and yes, you had the World Heavyweight Championship win for Jey Uso on night one, but I gauged the crowd outside Allegiant Stadium last night, and the general consensus was Dominik Mysterio winning the IC title got a bigger pop than Jey Uso winning the world title. He is hugely over, and what a visual in the clubhouse that's going to be with downbeat Liv Morgan, but sort of mixed emotions because her other half's obviously got the IC title. Devastated Raquel Rodriguez. Dead Carlito again. JD McDonough may well return. Be great. I think it'd be a nice time to bring him back with whole Finn Balor situation of him just looking at it going, I was like 3 seconds away, pal. It's all falling apart for the Judgment Day. But Dominik Mysterio, I want him, ironically enough, to be eating a pyramid of chicken tendies tonight in celebration.
We have not talked about this beforehand, but I promise you we are same-brained. I want them to do the daftest, most on-the-nose physical comedy with the clubhouse. If you want, do it as like a gradual reveal. So like the camera is panned, like invisible camera stuff, total nonsense. Okay. It's on Liv and Raquel, kind of like head in hands, being like, oh, WrestleMania nightmare. Like all you can see is like what appears to be a fairly normal background, not necessarily in the clubhouse. Next it goes along to Finn Balor, who is just like staring daggers at something on like his right-hand side, just raging. Then it goes, JD McDonough, if he's around, fine. Then it goes along to Carlito, full body cast. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Arms out like this. Like he's got an apple in his hand, but he can't bring it to his mouth. Yeah. Right, because he's been speared to death by Braun Breaker. And then last but not least, Dominik Mysterio, the biggest smile you've ever seen. Like his own one of them, what is it called, a coloche? Whatever that thing is. Like just more chicken tendies are being brought to him. And then the camera pulls out, he's basically paid for his own, like it's Banner, Michael, and Arrested Development, his own celebration party, the Judgment Day, we did it, or something like that.
Like in the ring, I don't really like those celebration parties because it's always like, okay, who's going to crash this?
Thor balloons.
You don't need people to crash it. Have the Judgment Day celebration in the ring with everyone being sad except Dominik Mysterio, who's having the best night, and so will the crowd because we love him.
The whole is it my voice, man? Sorry, Jeff Hardy, I think it was that night when he just comes out just to get pyro. Yeah. We did it. We won the belt. Him, like the streamers, the whole deal. Like that, he's over the moon. Everybody else is just devastated, like just angry and angry and angrier. Like the build up. And yeah, you're right. Like Liv Morgan at some point would probably be like, yeah, nice. maybe he's off today.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but maybe not today. He's like, yay! I love it. You mentioned like the reaction. I'd go beyond Jey Uso. I think the only person, to my ears, that got a bigger pop than Dominik Mysterio this weekend was Stone Cold Steve Austin. For real, right? I think it goes Austin, Dirty Dom, everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, that was unbelievable. One of them truly special nights. Dominik was doing the, as heels do, I don't mind it so much for heels, celebrating on the ramp. We did it. Let's get there. Scream, get the hell out of here. And then, I don't know if it was a producer that said it or just... Or he called an audible. He just sprinted out of the ring and, yeah! It was class.
It's amazing to think how far we've come, because I was chatting to some people about this outside the Allegiant last night. I was like, I remember being there and thinking, right, he's fought his deadbeat dad. It's very nice, and he's done that. And previous to that, he's obviously been battered by Seth Rollins with a kendo stick and stuff. And he's raced on and what have you. Does the amazing. That's still one of my favourite WrestleMania entrances. The amazing entrance against Ray. Yeah. Loses, and you're like, okay, well, it was good while it lasted, but that's kind of peaked now. Then he's in the Judgment Day. You know, you're a little weasel, you are. Well, I kind of like you. That's kind of peaked. Then they do the whole him and Rhea, obviously. Then subsequently him and Liv, and you're like, okay, now it's kind of peaked. It peaked again. It peaked even higher on Sunday. And now, babyface Dominik Mysterio is not even a question now. It is a thing. Yeah. And I'd go with this. You can do, like, the 3 men who didn't win could be involved in, like, a qualifier or an eliminator or whatever to decide who faces him. I think the right call is Finn Balor versus Dominik Mysterio going forward. He doesn't have to necessarily turn on him in the build to it, but you could have him say, like, come on, mate. I was like, I kind of did all the work, and you just kind of splashed in there and won the whole thing. But that solidifies him as a babyface, because obviously Finn Balor's going to be a twat, especially with JD McDonough by his side, just further splitting up the Judgment Day. Long term, my pitch for this, it was clear to me with what happened across night 2. Long term, with the draft and whatever, and however you want to book this, Dominik Mysterio versus Logan Paul is the way forward for me. It's not going to happen right now. Logan Paul's going to go off and, you know, be an influencer and do all that sort of thing and take someone else's spot, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I want to see that. But tonight I just want to party for Dirty Dom, sell people fake mustaches that they can wear, his little thing on his entrance thing that I just love him. He's the best.
What if, at the end of the celebration, through gritted teeth, Finn Balor's like, all right, yeah, it's really good. How about me and you, Backlash, like gentleman's agreement wrestling match, and all that, and they're both little bastards, right? So they're shaking hands mid-ring, and then both of them mid-ring, in front of the eyes of the world, like other hand behind the back with the fingers crossed.
Yes.
Like something like that. You know they're going to try and out-bastard each other at Backlash.
Yeah.
Bastard Lash. But yeah, set it up now and have them be the two people that think they're like smarter than everybody else, like total comedy criminals. Set that up.
Before we get to potential debuts, potential returns on tonight's Raw, because that's what we anticipate around this time of year, a couple more things to talk about. We have to mention the new Raw Tag Team Champions, The New Day. It was fine for me, the match with the War Raiders. It achieved what it needed to, and that was about it. A nice Bobby Heenan reference, as you pointed out to me, with the holding of the legs in the finish. But aside from that, this has to be the jumping off point for the New Day. They're seemingly clearly not doing stuff with Big E for now, but they have to be unbearable and turn it up a notch for me. Not just say, like, this town's crap and we're the best tag team ever. I want to see more from Xavier and Kofi.
Thank God for the New Day, because if nothing else now, the tag division on Raw might get the shot in the arm it desperately needs, along with them at the same time. Like, they are looking not for men to make the belt or belt to make men, but kind of both to happen simultaneously. Yeah. And it is the New Day. You know, like, until the Usos broke it, they were the all-time greatest tag team in terms of the longevity with the belts and all that. There's plenty of legacy here. It's easy to do. But I kind of wanted to bring them up in the possible arrivals from other shows.
Let's sit on that, actually, yeah.
Because there is a match sitting there that would be, oh my God, as a way to get some other people going. And again, prove this division can still be resuscitated.
Nice, man. Champion versus champions. Hank and Tank versus the New Day is a hell of a pitch. But no, we'll get to that in a second, because I very quickly want to take a bit of a tangent here and mention something that I was giddy to come downstairs and talk to you about. First thing I showed you when we met back up, I was like, have you seen the Karrion Kross promo? And I know this is probably more SmackDown stuff, but I want to mention it here because I want to see more going forward from Karrion Kross, and we won't really have time to talk about SmackDown and that sort of thing, because I think he's nailed it. I think he's really broken through. You know, we've been fans of his for quite some time now. I think he's always had that there for him. He mentions in the promo itself that the fans reacted when he got eliminated from the Andre, of course, on Friday. He's very pissed off with AJ Styles. He's kind of off the rails now, though. He was on my close personal friend Sam Roberts' Raw preview podcast, I suppose. It's nice to help out the little podcasts out there. Shout out to Sam Roberts. He was lovely to us. He gave us an interview at WrestleMania that we're going to release on the channel very, very soon. But it's so good to see him breaking out and showcasing what we've kind of known has always been there, and maybe has been restricted to, I don't know, outbursts on Twitter or glimpses of stuff that we notice, but the general public maybe just sort of lets it pass by. Man, I want to see him get pushed to the moon.
Karrion Kross, or maybe Killer Kross, based on how he kind of announced himself and indeed worked as a Bloodsport over this weekend, has at this point done everything he has said he has been willing to do ultimately to get over, to smash whatever glass ceiling that he is currently under. And it's really hard to gauge which one that is, because yes, we might have been into the Final Testament, but at various times audiences weren't, and creatively it didn't seem like they were given much attention from the creative team, right? They were there to be heel goons ultimately, to bump for the White at Six off Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits or whatever. But Karrion Kross himself, even probably before like we would have given him credit for it, has always done this. It's me that's why he turned heel. Like, I'm the one that got through to him. And then like as things have been getting picked up, whether it's been the hair, you know, when he's mirroring the people he's working with, whether it's been the moments of incredible comedy that we were just like laughing about the other day, where he's like, when he was still with the Authors of Pain, he's like, ha ha, get him. Like it was the John Cena face week was the big one for us, isn't it? Like, oh, you think it's trying to get you? Like, he does every little thing pending the character or pending the version of himself he's playing to get over, to get that opportunity. And the promo that he has cut, and Wilbourn's right, you've got to go out your way to see this. This is must-see stuff from a fantastic orator, a guy that knows not only how to talk, but knows how to like measure his outbursts. If you think about like, this is the same man that deadpanned being in a hotel room, said, yeah, the Miz is probably dead, and like popped the entire internet. The viral videos that seemingly come out on a weekly basis from Karrion Kross at this point is because there's not really a version of the character he can't play. This is the angry, pissed off Killer Kross, who might get nothing out of this yet again. But what's that going to do? That's going to fuel him to do another one, and another one, and another one. He was unbelievable at Bloodsport. He was given the opportunity to, you know, when they all come out and stand at the start, tuck your effing chins. It's Bloodsport. He's in Las Vegas. This is his town. Yeah. So he's carrying like all the excitement of doing that and getting to do the kind of the version of the art that he loves, and then the bitter resentment and anger of not getting what he wanted at WrestleMania. And he's folded it into kayfabe because he's now putting it on AJ Styles, who's put it in his lap. Alan. All of his anger was directed at Alan because in his mind, the industry that he wants to be a star in is being like corrupted by someone like a Logan Paul. And Alan had the opportunity to do something about it and failed. The ability on Karrion Kross's part to take all of this very real frustration, this very real incredible character work, and fold it into the story he's doing right now is kind of what he's done all along. Yeah. It was Sami Zayn, wasn't it, a few months ago? And it's like, are they doing Kross and Zayn at WrestleMania? And it sounds weird, but it's just the way in which he's able to constantly like bounce onto the next person because they're not giving him anything to do, but he'll find a way. I saw tweets at the weekend where like somebody had screenshotted him stood behind Seth Rollins, being like, it's like, that's where it starts. That's where Seth Rollins was like, Drew McIntyre, are you all right about this actually? I think I like your CM Punk stance if nothing else. And Karrion Kross can claim a little bit of that and a little bit of this. Like, he's the straw that stirs the drink. Keep it that way, man. He's the man. Love Karrion Kross. Love Killer Kross, however you go by. Kick Allen's ass.
What have you got pitch-wise for debut/returns tonight? There's one obvious name that everyone's talking about, and our friends from Birmingham, great to see them last night, literally met him. So there's only one name on my lips.
I was you're going to have to tell me because I was thinking of two others.
Oh, Rusev.
Oh, of course, yeah, sorry. Because he wasn't a mystery person yet.
Love the Brummie accent.
Well, and who doesn't? It's one of the best. Shout out, Nick. No, we all speculated on Rusev possibly being the guy for Randy Orton, but... And there was a way to do it, the Josh Alexander method, I guess, with AEW Dynamite. But, yeah, coming back tonight allows him to come back as a massive babyface. You don't need to have him wrestle. You can simply have him appear. He can batter somebody. Yeah. You know, he can just, like, there could be a heel doing the promo on the town. It could be a challenger for a title. You know, we've enjoyed the Judgment Day fantasy booking, but Dominik Mysterio would be a guy for someone like a Rusev to target on night one. Scare the absolute bejesus out of him, you know. Batter Carlito again. There's a million ways to bring back Rusev ultimately, and he's going to get an enormous reaction. People have missed him.
Yeah.
Miro, for a brief moment, looked all the way over for life in AEW, and I think there's an opportunity here to take
another Tony fumble.
Don't do it.
Joking. Calm down.
There's not just the opportunity to get the Rusev is back pop, the Rusev Day brought back into an era.
Oh, it is.
That's it.
Day after 420, we all know it.
Stroke of luck, right? 21st of April, Rusev Day. But also the fact that there's now an inbuilt audience that also remembers Miro the Redeemer and thinks this guy's world title material. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see him. I understood the booking of him being the surprise because they always want to over-deliver, and by God did they. We're going to talk about the Joe Hendry appearance on our WrestleMania review, of course. But I just couldn't justify it in my mind, and I think it's a different audience. I think the AEW audience receives Josh Alexander and then the subsequent heel turn after the loss differently than the WWE audience, who would just think, oh, he's come back and immediately lost to Randy Orton. He's exactly the same spot he was when he left. I think this works far better, and like you say, sometimes the simple stuff, the old stuff is the best. I can't. For some reason, me and Andy always seem to end at the moment on Austin Theory. Austin Theory's out there. I should have been on WrestleMania. All these people in the back. Randy Orton had an open challenge. You know what? I'm going to have an open challenge tonight. Anyone out there who's got the balls to come out and face me, Rusev Putria, whatever you want to do, however you want to present it. It's Rusev. He's from Russia, sort of, but not. He's Bulgarian. Yeah, can't wait to see him back. I don't really see many more returns from outside WWE on this show. We, spoiler, anticipate Aleister Black, Malachi Black on SmackDown, of course, with all the clues that we've been given. Beyond that, I don't know. Do you see any more other than, the call-ups potentially showing up on this show? It's a stacked roster for both shows.
Yeah, they're not I don't think it necessarily behooves WWE. It's great to get a surprise, you get a cool story, and it becomes one of the big moments and the talking points of WrestleMania weekend. But I think sometimes you've got to take a look internally and think, right, the same opportunity exists for somebody that you might want to have been pushing for a while, and now's the time to do it. The hot crowd, the receptive crowd, a bunch of stars, it's still a very hot product. Yeah. There's too many opportunities right now, I think, to worry about bringing in more new faces. NXT, on the other hand, exists for that purpose. It's time to sort of bring some people up. And yeah, to allude to something we discussed before when we were talking about the New Day, after one of the matches of the weekend, former NXT Tag Team Champions, Fraxiom, arriving on the main roster as challengers for the New Day would be something else. What a way, WrestleMania has felt like a reset, and I think WWE did need one. We talked at length. I don't think the Netflix to WrestleMania run has been that stellar creatively, but if all of these new champions and all of these potential new directions and new avenues for various characters to take also help the tag division and also help the women's division, NXT is the perfect place to just stock back up. That's what it's there for. And I say, they've lost the belts. I know sometimes in NXT they like to sort of close a loop and either have them split and feud or have them have a rematch and lose or whatever. Nah, go for it. They're in Vegas, take the pop tonight, have the New Day be ran off by them because they're shocked at Nathan Frazier's speed, or they're underestimating Axiom because he's in the mask or something like that.
And you don't have to immediately get to that match, do you? You can have them be we've literally just been tag team champions for ages in NXT. We're class, we want to face you. And New Day be we're not facing you. Mm-hmm. You're too good. And
the thing is, on NXT, if you've not been watching, they've been running a long-standing Fraxiom are fine, capital F, sort of storyline where in all of these amazing, and they have been amazing tag team title defenses, there's at least one miscommunication where you think tonight is the night, and then they've gone on to win the match, so everything's theoretically fine. In WWE, they can run that all the way back by getting a few wins together before you start seeing the cracks emerge.
It's a shame Sidgwick isn't here, because I'd love to know his thoughts on Roxanne Perez finally making a move to the main roster, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Miller was one who told me that she seems to be having one more go-around, potentially with Stephanie Vaquer. He mentioned, I missed all this with all the madness of Saturday, but I think they might do that one more time. Maybe do some Cora Jade stuff for her, but she's already sort of had a soft launch on the main roster. And maybe she'd be more SmackDown than Monday Night Raw anyway, but I don't really mind either way. I think she's class. Yeah. Outside of the names we've mentioned there, is there any other ones, Trick Williams, there's a multitude of people within that women's division. They could just say, thanks for doing a couple of weeks in NXT, Jordan Grace. Thanks for the main roster. Is there any other names that leap out to you as making that transition? Or is this going to be one of those things where you'll get, let's say, a Rusev and, fingers crossed, a Fraxiom, for example, tonight, and they do have plans for a few other names, but they're going to try and use that as... Because what they do now is actually try and keep you watching for the next few months rather than just sort of say, see you in the summer, guys. So there's an element of... We don't want to do too much on one night or overload ourselves for having to do too much for too many people going forward after this. So is it a case of like you get Rusev, you get all the big post-WrestleMania stuff, you maybe get an NXT call-up, but then the rest of them go through the process of we can make a bit more of a fanfare about them. They don't get as much lost in the noise if we say... They've been drafted. They're so good that the GMs of Raw and SmackDown, you've got Adam Pearce, and I can't remember what the SmackDown GM's name is, unfortunately. It's been a long week. Yeah. They're like, I want Trick Williams on my roster. I want Jordan Grace. I want Julia, or whoever it may be. Is that maybe the direction they should go?
I like that a lot. Yeah, surprise entrances and just big pops are cool and that. But I do quite like the idea that the admin does need to get done sometimes, and you are signing somebody, you are kind of selecting them from a pool or that kind of thing. Jordan Grace was the one that jumped out, and you just named her as well. Yeah, Julia's business might be done in NXT too. Like, she's lost her attempt to win the title back off Stephanie Vaquer. She's injury free, it would seem, despite that kind of like weird situation that happened earlier this year. So I would consider seriously calling them up. Stephanie Vaquer could come up tomorrow or indeed tonight, but I think they might try and, the thing with NXT, we had it previously with Ilya Dragunov. Sometimes it's like good and bad because you're the champion, but you maybe want to get up. Sometimes you're needed because the division is so centered around you that you're helping the people you're working with, you're elevating as you go. So maybe Stephanie Vaquer might have a little bit longer to wait in NXT. But Jordan Grace, I think at the time was reported as like, she's got a WWE deal. It just so happens she's currently working in NXT. That might be done and dusted.
When she was officially signed, or when it was all done, it was one of those things where it was like, I kind of don't want to go to the main roster because I don't want her to just be like, hey, welcome to the main roster. Here's some temporary feud to keep you busy until after WrestleMania. Yeah, don't have her miss WrestleMania, have her work, stand and deliver, and then be like, all right, okay, we'll get you on the road to next year's WrestleMania, because she's obviously going to be working it, along with numerous others who've just made the move up. Really, really exciting to see what happens tonight on Monday Night Raw. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and make sure you continue the conversation with us on X as well, at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow our brilliant producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
Seamless. And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, and make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. We'll be back some point soon. We're going to flank her, and they're looking after us. So do join us for the Raw review at some point in the future. But for now, this has been the Raw preview. My thanks to Michael Hamflett. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.